to lose. We're literally coding ourselves to lose by our thoughts. So I want you to think about what is the most repetitive thought you have, and how can you substitute a new thought for the first thought of the day and the last thought of the day that's empowering, that builds you up, that uplifts you. So that's inspiration. Now, M and E and S. M stands for meditation or mindfulness. And maybe some of you have practiced, how many of you practice meditation or mindfulness on a daily basis? Wow, that's pretty cool. That's a lot of you, that's awesome. For a lot of you, how many of you fell asleep the first time you tried meditation and mindfulness? Right, okay, a lot of people do that too. By the way, if you fall asleep when you practice meditation and mindfulness, that is literally your body telling you you need sleep. It's actually not a bad thing at all, because you're allowing your body and mind to do what it actually needs to do, because you're being present with your body and mind. So how do you practice meditation and mindfulness in your busy lives? The number one thing is, Jay, I have no time. I don't know how I'm going to make time for something like that. How does it work? I have something really simple for you. I want you to put in your calendar for 5 minutes at the beginning of the day and 5 minutes at the end of the day for you to just sit with yourself. See, we have meetings every single day with clients, with family, with friends. We check in with your kids, you check in with your partner, you check in with your boss, but we never check in with ourselves. And meditation and mindfulness in its simplest form is checking in with yourself. Checking in and going, how am I doing today? What do I need today? What would make today a great day for me? What is it that I can do? Right, just that check-in for 5 minutes, and if it's in your calendar, you do it. Right, we all do what's in our calendars. You don't generally cancel something that's in there. But we forget about things that don't make it in there. So that's meditation and mindfulness, just 5 minutes at the beginning and end of every day, checking in with yourself and saying, how am I doing? How am I feeling? What do I need? So thankfulness, inspiration, mindfulness, and the E stands for exercise. We all know we need to move more, but we all struggle with it. And one of the simplest ways that I found to build movement into my day is that I've stopped setting 60-minute and 30-minute meetings. I have no idea who came up with that system. I don't know why we started to have 30-minute meetings or 60-minute. My meetings are now 25 minutes or 55 minutes. And the beauty of that is you get these 5 minutes back every half hour or every hour, and those 5 minutes can be put to good use. And here's what I do with those 5 minutes. 3 W's. First one, I walk. I get a moment to get up, to walk around. Sometimes I'll even try and take the meeting while I'm walking, but if I can't do that and I need to be in one place, walking for that 5 minutes in between, it breaks it up. I get that movement pumping. I'm now not carrying the baggage of my last meeting into my next meeting. Right, that's the first thing. The second is water. I get hydrated. I get an opportunity to actually get some flow to my brain so that I can actually be productive in my next meeting. And the third one, if I really can, this is probably one of my favorites because I think it's underestimated. I try and go outdoors, or I try and find a window that I can look out of, and I'll tell you why. We've become so short-sighted. Everything is so up close. Our laptops, our phones, our screens, your watch, whatever it may be, everything is so up close that often we can feel quite suffocated. We can feel quite claustrophobic because everything we're looking at us is kind of coming at us. Instead of being able to look out the window, look out into the sky, to look out and spot a bird or spot a tree that's far away or spot a cloud or whatever it may be, just being able to look out into the distance can expand and open your mind in a way that's never going to happen if everything you're looking at is up close. So transforming your meetings into 25-minute meetings and 55-minute meetings allows you to get that 5 minutes back, allows you to get some movement in. And one of the best ways to get more movement in is to make it collaborative and make it competitive. These are two of the best ways to transform your relationship with exercise. Collaboration and competition make exercise fun. One of the things, when I was talking about this at a conference a week ago, someone told me that what they had inside their company and inside their family too is they had a steps challenge. So everyone was competing for the 10,000 steps. And they were saying that basically by the end of the day, if one of the family members is already over 10,000 steps, the kids will go and run up and down the stairs and get a couple more steps in just to beat their mom or their dad. And that competition and collaboration made it more incentivizing for them to do that. Now this person who came up to me and was telling me this, they said that this competition got so far that someone on the weekend in their friend group did 80,000 steps. It's pretty impressive, right? Some of you look pretty shocked because you've never seen that number. And some people are going, oh, I don't know. I was a bit skeptical about it. So I said to him, I said, that's cool, but I don't really believe that you did not you, but the person you're talking about did 80,000 steps over a weekend. So you got to tell me what's going on there. And they said to me, I'll tell you as long as you don't tell anyone else. And I said, well, whenever anyone says that, that's guaranteed that it's going to spread. That's how it works. So I said, I promise to not tell anyone else here, but I may tell this later on, so I'm telling all of you. He told me that the person who did 80,000 steps that weekend tied his Fitbit to his horse. And the horse had done the 80,000 steps, not him. And that's how he won the competition with his friends. So I don't want you to cheat, but think about how you can add collaboration and competition into your desire for movement, into your exercise. One of the things I love about Dubai whenever I'm here is this place got me into paddle, however you say it. But ever since I started coming here, this is where I got introduced to the sport, and I absolutely love it. And I got really upset because when I'm back in the United States, pickleball took off there, which is nowhere near as cool. And I'm trying to galvanize everyone to be like, guys, we need to put some glass walls at the back of these courts so we can play a real sport. So it's amazing how sport can make movement fun. It's amazing how competition and collaboration can make exercise and movement fun. We all know we need to do it. We're not doing it because we haven't added those two components. And finally, S for sleep. Thankfulness, inspiration, mindfulness, exercise, and sleep. How many of you are getting 7 to 9 hours a night? Raise your hands. How many of you are getting more than 9 hours? Wow, you're amazing. That person in the back, that's insane. How are you sleeping more than 9 hours? And how many of you are not getting anywhere close to 7 hours? Right. So let me walk you through what that looks like. Getting less than 7 hours of sleep, and I'm guessing most of that 7 hours is after midnight. The human growth hormone, or HGH, is most active in the hours before midnight. Basically, when we're sleeping, there's so much more going on. Our brain's being washed. Memories are being refined. Neurons are being connected. There's so much happening. There's so much cleansing. There's so much detoxing that's going on in our bodies while we're asleep. By not sleeping for 7 to 9 hours a night, we're actually depleting our body and mind's ability to function as effectively. So when we think we're working, we're actually becoming less sharp. While we think we're getting more done, in the long run, we're actually getting less done. We're becoming less and less and less effective because we're not as sharp anymore. So now it takes us 3 days to do what took us 1 day. I want you to really try and prioritize your sleep, especially the hours before midnight, because I promise you, you'll be more productive, you'll be far more effective, you'll crush your goals if you slept well, because you'll actually have all of your abilities to go at that next goal with. So these are the 5 habits that I want you to prioritize, and I want you to just choose one over the next month. I just want you to choose one of those and say, for the next month, I'm going to dedicate my life to mastering this habit, and watch how your life changes. So those are the habits for your foundation. Now I want to try something with you. I'm actually going to ask you all to stand up. Stand up for me again. Awesome. Great stuff. Trying to get you those steps in today. Get some competition and collaboration in. All right. So I want you to answer. That was conscious mindset. I'm now moving to something called coach mindset. And I'm going to ask you 2 questions, and I want you to answer these questions for yourself really honestly. All right. So, question number 1. Are you more outgoing or are you more reserved? Now, I'll give you an answer to both of them. For those of you thinking you're in the middle, you're not. You just have bad self-awareness, right? So, outgoing people are the people that are dragging people onto the dance floor. You're the people who are starting up the conversation. You're gathering groups of people around you, right? That's what outgoing people are. And reserved people are as confident, but they'd prefer to get into a one-to-one conversation. They'd prefer to have an intimate connection. They're more likely to listen than do all the talking. If you're outgoing, I want you to head to this side of the room. This is the line down the middle. And if you're reserved, I want you to go to this side of the room. So if you're outgoing, head to this side of the room. And if you're reserved, go to this side of the room. If you have to talk while you move, you're outgoing. Just throwing it out there. All right. And if you're not moving, you're probably reserved. So outgoing this side, reserved this side. Fantastic. Okay, great. All right, outgoing people, make some noise. Reserved people, make some noise. Thank you for living up to the stereotype. That's good. All right. Now, stay on your side, but I have a second question. If you're more people-focused, or are you more task-focused? I'll explain what I mean. If you're a people person, right now you're thinking, is everyone having fun? Is everyone engaged? Is everyone learning? If you're task-focused, you're going, God, he's going to go over time. Oh my God, what about health and safety? Like, what if people trip over? Neither's better or worse, but we're all wired a certain way to think about one before the other. So if you're a people-focused person, stay on your sides, but come forward. And if you're a task-focused person, stay on your sides, but go backwards. All right, so people-focused, stay on your sides, but come forward. Task-focused, stay on your sides, but go backwards. So you're either coming forward or going backwards. All right, good. Okay, so back there we have outgoing and task. Make some noise. Here we have outgoing and people. Make some noise. Back there we have reserved and task. Make some noise. And here we have reserved and people. Make some noise. All right, so let me tell you something. So many of us have a choice every day to work on what we're good at, what we're average at, or what we're bad at. When you look at the top performers in the world, the peak performers, they all practice the habits that I walked you through, the TIMES. But one of the biggest habits they focus on is that they go all in on what they're phenomenal at. When it comes to their hard skills, they don't just settle for being good. They want to become the best at it. The space you're standing in right now is your natural place of skill, your natural place of impact. And I'm going to walk you through some of this. So, that group at the back there are outgoing and task. These people are doers, they're demanding, they're directors, they can be dictators. Those people at the back are the people that make you cry, right? They want to get to the goals, and they're not making you cry. They're proud of it, right? They want to get to the goal, they want to get things done, they want to get a plan and a schedule. That group back there are ready, fire, aim. They fire before they aim because they just want to get going, all right? Now, this group over here, outgoing and people. This group here are ideators, inspirers, they're good sales people, they're influencers, they're people who get ideas across to others. This group is ready, talk, right? And they know it too. They love themselves for it. Those people hate working with these people because they want to get stuff done, and these guys want to do blue sky thinking and all that kind of stuff, right? Now, going back to reserved and task at the back there. Make some noise. Wow, that was really reserved. Thank you so much. So reserved and task, they're calculative, they're cautious, they're focused on the detail, they're focused on the quality. That group back there is ready, aim. They just keep trying to perfect everything. That's the group that sends you emails telling you have spelling mistakes in your emails, right? That's that group, you know who you are. They want to get everything perfect. That group also hates this group. Because they're like, it needs to work, and they're like, hey, if I can sell it, it doesn't matter if it works or not, right? Now, this group over here, sorry guys, I'm picking on you a bit, but, so this group over here, reserved and people, make some noise. So this group is stable, they're supportive, they're highly emotionally intelligent. This group here are ready, hug, 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 right? If you want a hug today, you need a shoulder to cry on, this is the group for you. This group cares about people's feelings, it cares about how people's experiences. Can we get an R? Perfect. So if you need a hug, this is the group to go to. Now, why am I telling you about this? These are your areas of impact. If you become really good at being the best executor, at becoming the best ideator, at becoming the best detail-focused person, at becoming the best people, emotional intelligence person over here, if you go all in on this intelligence that you already have, all of a sudden you're going to see things shift and move for you. Why? Because that is your zone. That is when you're in flow. The biggest mistakes that we've been set up with is this idea that you have to get really good at stuff you're bad at. Now, I'm going to caveat that with this. Whatever you're standing in right now, that's what you want to become exceptional in. Any soft skills or any emotional skills that you have weaknesses in, you want to get better at. But any hard skills you have, you want to go all in on them. The problem is what we do is we try and get good at the hard skills we're bad at, and we ignore the soft skills that we're bad at. We ignore the emotional intelligence skills that we're bad at, and we try and get better at using a program or a platform or a new technology. Go all in on your zone. There's an incredible statement said by Albert Einstein where he said that everyone's a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will spend its whole life believing that it's stupid. And so many of us are fishes trying to climb trees. So many of us are birds trying to swim. So many of us are lions I'm running out of things, but you get the point, right? Like, the idea that we are constantly trying to be someone we're not. Maybe you see someone on social media and you think, I want to be like them. Maybe you're watching someone else in your industry and you're feeling envious and you're feeling jealous and you're thinking, I should be like them. And all the while you're trying to be like them, you're missing out on being you. See, we've been told 2 lies since we were young. The first lie we've been told is you can be anything. Right, you'll see people on stages walking around telling you can be anything you want. I don't think that's true. I don't think you can be anything you want. I want to be Cristiano Ronaldo. I'm not, right? Right? It doesn't work that way. You can't be anything you want. And the second lie we've been told is you're nothing. You're worth nothing. You become nothing. You won't make it. Your ideas are terrible. You suck. And the truth is, both of those are lies. The lie that you can be anything and the lie that you're nothing, they're both lies. The truth is, you can't be anything you want, but you can be everything you are. And that's what we're trying to avoid the whole time, is just being this zone of genius that you're in right now. There's an amazing conversation between Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak. Steve Wozniak, who's the tech brains behind Apple, goes up to Steve Jobs and he says, what do you even do? Can you imagine saying that to Steve Jobs? He goes in there and goes, what do you even do? And Steve Jobs says, well, actually before that, Steve Wozniak says to him, he goes, you're not a coder, you're not a salesperson, you're not an engineer, what do you even do? And Steve Jobs, in Steve Jobs fashion, replies, musicians play their instruments, I play the orchestra. Now, let's put the ego aside, but there's a massive learning lesson there. This idea that his role was to bring people together. His genius was to know how to get people to play together. He didn't know how to play the instruments. He didn't need to know. So many of us are trying to get good at things that we don't need to get good at, instead of becoming exceptional at the things we're already good at. Give yourselves a round of applause, take a seat, find your seat. The task people are mad at me. No, I'm joking, we still got time. Grab your seat. Thank you so much for partaking in that. If you're talking on your way back, definitely you're outgoing. Thank you so much, I love you too, I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Find your way back. Give yourselves another round of applause. That was awesome. Thank you for taking part, everyone. Appreciate it. Awesome. So we talked about the conscious mindset, the habits for yourself. We talked about the coach mindset. This mindset of, do I know what I'm focusing on? Do I know what my team's focusing on? So often we're wasting our team's time by getting them to focus on things that isn't their priority. We're playing people out of position. We're not working the strategy as effectively as we could. That's not mindfulness. Mindfulness is being able to play to everyone's strengths, figuring out what complements each other. I want to tell you one more mindset. Just one more that I want to share with you. And this mindset is called the childlike mindset, or the creativity mindset. There's a beautiful quote by George Bernard Shaw where he said that we don't stop playing because we get old. We get old because we stop playing. And I love that quote because I'm constantly reminding myself that I'm still allowed to be playful. I'm still allowed to be childlike, not childish. And actually, when I look at things through the fresh eyes of a child, if I look at things with that curiosity, with that innocence, with that openness, anything is possible. Now I want to present to you an idea. This was a challenge that a professor set out at Stanford, and it's called the $5 challenge. So the professor stood in front of a group of people just like this and said, I'm going to give you $5 and 2 hours. And whoever makes the most money wins, and then you're going to tell us what you did in a couple of minutes at the end. I'm going to give you $5 and you have 2 hours to make as much money as you possibly can. And then you're going to present back to the group what you did and how much money you made. This was at Stanford, so the students set out. The first group of students, they went off and they started a car wash. They spent the $5 buying a bucket, buying a sponge, buying some washing liquid, and then they just started washing as many cars as they possibly could. As you can gather, they probably didn't make that much. How much are you going to charge for a car wash? How many cars are you going to wash in 2 hours? They didn't win. They definitely didn't win. Now another group, they realized that the $5 was actually a distraction. What they had was 2 hours to make as much money as they could. Whether they spent the $5 or didn't, it didn't really matter. They have 2 hours to make as much money as they possibly can. So what they did is they booked reservations at fancy restaurants and sold those reservations to corporate companies who wanted to dine their clients, who wanted to take clients or retreats or have meetings in these restaurants. They started to make a ton of money in those 2 hours, but they didn't win either. Do you want to know what the winning team did? The winning team realized that not only was the $5 a distraction, but the 2 hours was also a distraction. The most valuable thing they had was the 3-minute presentation at the end. They realized that a 3-minute presentation in front of Stanford graduates was a really rare and valuable thing. They sold those 3 minutes for $650 to a company that wanted to hire Stanford graduates. And they won the competition in the presentation. Now think about that for a second. Why am I telling you that story? I'm telling you that story because if you look at $5, 2 hours, or 3 minutes, 3 minutes seems like the least valuable thing and the least impactful thing. But actually, these students figured out that it was the most valuable thing they had at their disposal. And I want to challenge you with your clients, with your meetings, with the conversations you're having. What is your 3 minutes? And what is your $5? What is your 2 hours? What is the things that are distracting you away from what's truly valuable? What are the things that are distracting you and disconnecting you from being present and zooming out like the students did to realize what was truly valuable? Because what I've realized is that peak performers, high performers, people who reach the goals that you want to reach, they're not looking at problems in the same way as we are. The questions you're asking are half the challenge. Maybe the question we're asking ourselves is, how do I get more leads this year? How do I get more sales this year? How do I close more deals this year? Whatever it may be. When the founder of Starbucks, Howard Schultz, first set out to start Starbucks, his question was, how do I get Americans to have an espresso experience like in Italy? That was the initial question. How do I recreate the espresso experience in America that he experienced in Italy? That was what he was trying to do. And he was just banging his head against the wall because the lifestyle and culture in Italy is very different from the lifestyle in the US. So he changed his question. He changed his question to, how do I create an environment where people like to drink coffee on the go or work and have coffee at the same time? Just that shift in his question shifted the trajectory of the business, because now he wasn't just trying to do what someone else had done and try and copy and paste it. He was trying to figure out a question that he could truly answer. So I believe that everyone in this room is highly intelligent, highly smart, and highly capable. But often we're chasing the wrong answer, or we're asking the wrong question. And I believe that if you're able to make that shift, you'll see a direct path to each and every one of your goals. Thank you so much for your time and energy. Thank you for taking part. I appreciate you deeply. I'm grateful that I got a chance to speak to you. And I'm going to get to answer some of your questions. I'm sticking around, but thank you so much. I appreciate you deeply. Over to questions. I believe we'll bring in a few chairs onto stage. And
yes, indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, as we get the chairs up on the stage, let's hear it for the superstar that is Jay Shetty. Put your hands together! So Jay will be in conversation with Cecilia in just a few moments' time, so don't go anywhere. We will